You ever have one of those weeks where everything just piles up at once? Your boss dumps another project on you, your kids won't stop arguing, the bills keep rolling in, and maybe your car decides to break down just when you need it the most. You're stressed, tired, frustrated, and there's nothing left in the tank. It feels like you've been hanging on by a thread, or maybe by a rope. Wouldn't it be great if there was an expression in English for that moment, when your patience, energy, and sanity have all run out? Well, there is. And today, I'm going to teach you one that perfectly describes that feeling. Let's dive in. G'day, you mob. Welcome to Aussie English. I'm your host, Pete, and my objective here is to teach you guys the English spoken down under. So whether you want to sound like a fair dinkum Aussie, or you just want to understand what the flippin' hell we're on about when we're having a yarn, you've come to the right place. So sit back, grab a cuppa, and enjoy Aussie English. Let's go. G'day, you mob. How's it going? Welcome to this episode of Aussie English. I am your host, Pete, and we're back at it. We are back doing some expression episodes. It's been a while. I'd taken a break from doing these episodes, but I thought, you know what? It's a new year. It's 2026. It's time to dive back in and try and do these episodes, but maybe an updated version. So anyway, today's expression that we're going to target is at the end of your rope. At the end of your rope. Have you heard this one before? The structure of the episode is going to be, I'm going to tell you a joke. We'll go through a word-by-word breakdown. I'll give you the meaning and origin of the phrase. We'll go through some real-life examples, a speaking exercise, and then I'll give you a little Aussie fact of the day before we finish up. Now, don't forget, there is a free downloadable PDF that you can grab for this episode via the link in the description on the Aussie English website, so that you will get definitions and all of that sort of stuff in there. If you want the full transcript for this episode, though, sign up to the premium podcast membership. You can get access to that at aussieenglish.com.au/podcast, and you'll get the transcript for this episode, as well as over 1,300 other episodes that we've done on the podcast. Okay, so once again, aussieenglish.com.au/podcasts, and if you sign up, it helps me keep doing what I'm doing here and keep the lights on. All right, so slap the bird, guys. It's been a while since I've said that. Let's get into the joke of the day. Okay, so let's kick things off with a joke. So here it is. Are you ready? Why did the pencil stop writing? Why did the pencil stop writing? It reached the end of the line. You get it? So the joke here is the double meaning on the phrase, the end of the line. A pencil writes by drawing lines, right? If it reaches the end of the line, it stops writing because there's no more line to continue on, or because the line has finished. So the idiom, the end of the line, is the point where something stops, it cannot continue, or is finished, right? This is the end of the line. And I think, without looking it up, because it's not the target of today's episode, I believe that's about the train tracks, right? When you get a trip on a train, when you pay for one of those, the train is going along a line. And when you get to the end of the line, you got to get off the train. Okay? So there you go. Why did the pencil stop writing? It reached the end of the line.
That was good, wasn't it? It was good for a bit of a giggle anyway.
Okay, so let's go through and define the words in the expression at the end of your rope. So at, this is a preposition. It indicates a point, a place, or a situation. She's waiting at the bus stop. That is the location where she is waiting. The or the, this is a definite article. It refers to a specific thing that's already known to the listener or reader. Example, he closed the door quietly. Just any door? No, the door over there. End, the final point of limit or something. End. We reach the end of the road. The end of the road. Of, a preposition shows a relationship or connection between two things. The legs of the table are broken. The legs of the table. Your, possessive determiner. This one shows that something belongs to you. Is this your phone? And lastly, rope. A strong, thick cord made by twisting fibers together And in this idiom, it symbolizes someone's patience, strength, or endurance. They tied the boat to the dock with a rope. Okay, so the expression is to be at the end of your rope. At the end of your rope. The literal meaning here would be you're hanging onto a rope. Maybe you're climbing up a mountain or holding on for your life somewhere and you're holding onto a rope and you've reached the very end of it. There's nothing left to grab, right? If you slip any more or you go further down the rope, you're going to fall off it and it's probably not going to be good. Figurative image though for this expression, when you're at the end of your rope, it means you've hit your emotional or mental limit. You can't handle any more stress, frustration, or problems. You are at the end of your rope. You're exhausted. You're frustrated. You're out of options. It's used when someone has, they've reached that absolute limit of their energy, their patience, their ability to cope. So it could describe mental burnout, emotional exhaustion, or situational stress. And it's often used sympathetically when you can relate to someone who's overwhelmed. Like, oh, mate, I see that you're probably at the end of your rope. Can I help out? All right, so at the end of your rope, if you are at the end of your rope, you've run out of patience, energy, or ways to keep going. Idiom researchers think this one dates back at least 400 years, so we've been using it for a while, and that it is associated either with an animal that is tethered by a rope, and if it obviously tries to get away from where it's been tied down, it's at the end of its rope, or that if you are climbing with a rope or something and hanging onto the end of it, there's nowhere left for you to go. Okay, so let's get into some interesting examples, everyday English examples I can give you of using this expression at the end of your rope. So example number 1, work pressure. Okay, so Sophie's been juggling deadlines, emails, late night meetings for weeks. Her boss walks over and drops another big project on her desk. And Sophie, being overwhelmed or exhausted, might say, oh man, honestly, I'm at the end of my rope. I can't take on another thing right now. I can't do any more. I'm at the end of my rope. So here it's about mental exhaustion or frustration. Sophie's got too much work going on. Her boss brings her more work. She's at the end of her rope. Number 2, family stress. Imagine that the kids have been fighting all afternoon. The house is a mess and dinner's burning. This is my situation quite frequently at the moment whilst we're on school holidays. I might say to my wife or to my kids directly, guys, I'm at the end of my rope. Take it easy. I need help. I'm overwhelmed. I'm at the end of my rope, right? So emotional overload. I've completely lost my patience. I can't handle anymore. I'm at the end of my rope. Example number 3, unexpected problems. So maybe Sophie's car breaks down on her way home from work. It's been one thing after another all week. She was at work getting all that work from her boss and she's just like, I'm at the end of my rope. Now she's trying to drive her car home and she's broken down. The car is cactus. It's carked it. It's broken down. Oh, of course this happens. Now I'm really at the end of my rope, right? So she's frustrated, but she may be using it humorously as well. Used when life just keeps throwing problems at you. Like, oh my God, I'm at the end of my rope. I can't handle this. And the last example, relationship tension. So maybe after months of arguing and trying to fix things, a couple has one more fight and they decide, you know what, we're at the end of our rope here with this relationship, right? I'm at the end of my rope. You're at the end of your rope. I don't know what else we can do. I think this relationship probably needs to end, right? We're overwhelmed. We're out of patience, emotional strength. It's over. We're both at the end of our ropes. Okay, so to summarize, the expression to be at the end of your rope can describe any moment of complete frustration or exhaustion from daily stresses to emotional burnout. It's relatable, expressive, and it's used by Aussies all the time when life's just too much to handle.
Would you like a Chardonnay, Kylie?
Kim, it's not Chardonnay. The correct pronunciation is Chardonnay.
Mum, it's French. The H is silent. Back me up here, Kylie.
Okay, so now let's get into a little speaking exercise. This is your chance to practice your pronunciation. So I'm going to read out a series of sentences using the expression at the end of my rope, your rope, his rope, her rope, whatever it will be. And your goal here is to read these out loud after me and practice saying them exactly as I do. Okay, so it's time to work on your Aussie accent. So find somewhere quiet, away from people, so you're not stressed out thinking about people hearing you practice. And let's do it, okay? So listen and repeat after me. I'm at the end of my rope. You're at the end of your rope. He's at the end of his rope. She's at the end of her rope. We're at the end of our rope. They're at the end of their rope. It's at the end of its rope. Good job, guys. How did you find that? A little pronunciation tip. In Australian English, two words in this expression, at and of, often appear in their weak forms. So instead of hearing at, you might hear ut. Or instead of hearing of, you might hear of or simply So for example, when I say the phrase, I'm at the end of my rope, you'll hear, I'm at the end of my rope. 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 And that's what gives us that natural English rhythm. When you get used to these weak forms, these reduced forms, and using the schwa, instead of saying at and of, I'm at the end of my rope. Very robotic. When I say it with the reduced forms, it allows that kind of rhythm and stress to sound more natural. I'm at the end of my rope. I'm at the end of my rope. I'm at the end of my rope. Okay? So it just comes with practice, but I thought I would point that out for you guys. And I'll try and include a pronunciation tip in each episode. Okay? So again, go back, listen to the pronunciation exercise, the speaking exercise, and see if you can hear those little reductions taking place. All right, so the last section today, the Aussie fact of the day. The oldest rope makers in the world. Did you know that Australia is home to one of the oldest continuous traditions of rope making and fibre technology? That's true. For tens of thousands of years, Aboriginal Australians have crafted ropes, nets, and string from natural fibres such as kurrajong bark, pandanus leaves, and coconut husks. These fibres were used for fishing nets and lines, for catching fish and crustaceans, baskets and bags woven from twisted plant fibres, climbing and binding, ropes strong enough for harvesting honey or fruits from tall trees. This incredible technology symbolises strength, resourcefulness, and connection to country. So while at the end of your rope means you're worn out and about to give up, ropes in Australia have always represented resilience, skill, and endurance. So, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, guys. Give me some feedback. Send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Send me an email, pete@aussieenglish.com.au, and let me know if you enjoy these episodes and want more of them. Remember to grab today's free downloadable PDF that'll have a bunch of the information in here, like definitions and the pronunciation exercise. If you want the full transcript for this episode, for you to print out, study, read, then sign up for the premium podcast membership. You can do that at aussieenglish.com.au/podcast. And you'll get access to over 1,000 other episodes and their transcripts, bonus episodes for members only, the premium podcast player that allows you to listen and read at the same time. It's a really good study tool. So once again, premium podcast membership, get it at aussieenglish.com.au/podcast. Link will be in the description. And I'll catch you next time on the Aussie English Podcast. Hooroo! All right, that's it for today. If you found this one helpful, leaving a quick review really does help other learners find the podcast. And if you know someone who's learning Aussie English, feel free to share this episode with them too, mate. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.